Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our channel and our newest segment, Paws on Manga.
Yes, this is where we cover some of our favorite manga series and recommend them to you all viewers, showing you how much we love them. And this time we're covering the awesome shonen manga Jujutsu Kaisen.
Sylvia!
Yes!
Now this manga follows Yuji Itadori. I won't say it. Who seems to like a regular student. Well, who seems like a regular student? I seems to like. Well, he does like a regular student. Okay, who seems like a regular student until his friends are attacked by cursed spirits, forcing him to eat the cursed and powerful finger of Sukuna.
Yes, this actually happened.
Now, from there, Itadori learns about the world of Jujutsu sorcerers and how to stop them from hurting others. I gotta stop laughing. I will say Marco Diaz.
And before we start, be sure to like, subscribe, click notification bell to some future podcasts, and to pause video.
Absolutely. Now, we began reading this particular manga by getting volumes from the library, and then it's just so good we started buying the volumes ourselves. I should say,
yes.
We started buying them. And definitely want to own the entire series because they're fantastic. And you can see on screen the few that we own now, but definitely plan on owning them all before it's over.
Yes, absolutely. And we eventually did go to the anime, and we've covered the first season of that along with the prequel movie Zero.
And we are current on the releases for the volumes in the US.
Yes.
So we are up to date and we are ready for this season. Next season to come out.
Yes, it's a hurry up. So we also ended up reading part of this online too when they were having the chapters out weekly. And there was a difference between when you read it as a book and on digital, besides just holding it physically. There might be some translations that are different. They use more storying online because they can get away with it versus printing. So if you see any of that, don't be alarmed. It's just probably you have to handle the manga better.
Now what's hilarious about this is if you've watched our podcast on this anime, if you haven't, it's going to be included for you to click on and give a listen to. I originally wanted to see this. I wanted to see it so badly. I wanted to watch it. And then Rascal sneaked and watched it before me. So it was
not
great.
On purpose.
So it was great that actually I got to read the manga at the same time, and it didn't disappoint. It's really just as good as watching the anime.
Yes.
It's like MHA has the same effect, so does JJK. It's just as good reading.
Right. And so far, I believe there are 18 volumes out, going through from 0. Yes, they count that as one. 0 through 18. And I think there's a light novel out
so then
as
it'll be 19 if you're counting 0.
Right. And then there's also a light novel out as well that you can read, I guess, whenever. I think it takes place sometime in season 1. You just have to read more to find out.
Now, the best thing about the anime watching is you hear Marco Diaz, who's voiced by Adam MacArthur. And when you're reading it, you can hear him in your mind doing the line.
Yes.
At least I do.
Yes, I think everyone can now because now that's his other voice.
And what's really great about this manga is you have the action scenes, and the action scenes are clear. Sometimes they're not. Sometimes you can't get a feel for what they might look like in your mind. But in this manga, they're really good and adept at drawing the action.
Yes.
It makes you really feel like you're seeing it take place, not just looking at something on a page and trying to figure out or imagine in your mind.
Right.
That's really great.
Right. And so with 1 through 18, you get the story of them trying to get all the fingers of Sukuna's before the bad guys get it because they release it and that's going to be the end of the world. So yes, they already got that level of catastrophe could possibly happen right from the get-go. And then with 0, it's a prequel focusing on Yuta that shows some events that happen before the main story. And it actually does follow up by the time you get to that Shibuya arc, which makes everyone cry.
And it has its own movie dedicated to it, the JJK 0,
yes.
For the 0 manga volume.
Right.
It's an exciting read. It is great. It's fantastic. I can't praise it enough. The writing is excellent. The drawing is excellent. The characters are fleshed out. The action is exciting on paper.
You love just about everybody in it.
And you get to find out more about the characters that's left out in the anime. Also, you get to find more about Geto.
Yeah, we named him like 3 different ways, so one of those is right.
In case we get it wrong, we pronounce it 3 different ways.
Right.
But you get to find out more about he and Gojo's friendship. You get to find out more background on some of the characters, not all of them. And it's just an amazing read.
Yes.
It absolutely is. And even if you can't own this manga series, gotta borrow it, whether you're reading it digitally online or from your local library, or for some friends who may have it, give them back.
Yeah.
Got to read this manga. It's just a different experience. And again, it's just as enjoyable and exciting as watching the anime. Now your question may be, or you may say, well, if that's the case, I've watched the anime, I don't need to read the manga. Yes, you do.
Yes.
Because again, there are things that are exclusive to the manga that don't appear in the anime.
Right.
And they help you to have a better understanding not only of Jujutsu sorcery, but also of the characters themselves.
Right. And you get a little more information on the characters when you have those little bios, right? So, and those are pretty fun because sometimes you wonder if the author makes them up as he goes along, or are they real? Like, how long did you think about these?
He does like Horikoshi, where he has little drawings and extra things that stand out.
Yes. And there's also some really great expressions that sometimes are left out, sometimes are left in, sometimes out, depends. And usually it comes to a point when something is getting serious, so they add some levity. And one will be when they explain a plan and they're drawn a little chibi drawn way, and it's something really deadly, like the bad guys are planning and they do it like it's no big deal, it's like a children's drawing. Or when Itadori looks confused about something and he's reduced from his regular anime face to just 3 lines and a mouth. Or he turns like a piece of paper and starts flailing because he's depressed. And it's like, and it's like some of the best expressions in there, and you can even hear it. If you've seen it in the anime, you can hear it happen as reading the manga. It's like, why is he a piece of paper now?
And then, of course, in the manga, some of the lines are delivered differently. Like one of my favorite lines where, what's the best friend, the brother?
Oh, what's his name?
Where Yuji's brother.
Yes.
And he tells him that they're gonna do something, and he says, okay, it's gonna, for one reason. And then when he explains it, and he says in the anime, okay, but that's 2. And it doesn't appear in the anime, and in the manga, and I was so disappointed. I was like, oh, okay, well, that was just for the anime. That was brilliant. But okay, guys, we've got brain fog. What is his brother's name? Not the brothers he's finding that he actually has.
Right, it's later on.
Jujutsu, but the big guy who
that's about a type. Like,
yes,
he asks people what their type.
Likes. And then he's like, oh, this is my brother. And then find out it may actually be real.
Right. And that's one of the best things about it, is that for a lot of the main cast, they become friends pretty quick, and they kind of build up that status fast with their friends, or their best friends, or their brothers, or sisters, or something, and it's hilarious because, like, barely know them already getting this close. And it happens for either Itadori or Yuta, and both times it's hilarious.
Yes, and the books also have a lot of detail in them as well.
Yes.
As far as the surroundings and things, there's a lot of detail.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely a lot of detail.
And the only things you might not like seeing again is when certain characters are taken out, and like you see in the anime first and you read in the manga. That might be the only thing you might not enjoy, because there were points like you didn't have to take them out. And it's like really the only thing we don't care for about the manga is that they did that in there. And it felt like you could have written that differently. You want the character to make it and they don't. And it doesn't make you hate it. It just makes you like, oh, that really sucks that happened, that it went that badly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's written by Gege Akutami. So instead we kept saying the mangaka. So that's the name of the writer. And another thing that I really like is, as you said, the bios, learning more about the characters, giving you personality traits, and the author or mangaka explaining why they chose to draw them a certain way or make their hair a certain way,
Right.
changes that they made during it, or how
Right.
the character was supposed to look originally, and they decided not to do it that way.
Right. And one of the biggest things is that people kept mixing up Inumaki and Itadori. And they kept mixing up Megami and Yuta, thinking they were all the same people. And then he had to draw some drawings showing, no, they're not the same person. This is not about them.
And I personally can't see how, because in my mind, it's like they're distinct characters. But I guess
in black and white, it's easier to mix them up than in anime, because you see it in colors like, okay, they're completely different. But for some reason, it happened a lot in the manga.
And another great thing to learn of in this manga is the relationship between the twin sisters.
Yes.
The Zenin sisters, Maki and...
The other one. I'm sorry. It's not very much, it's just, I didn't hear her name that much, and I know they brought up a few times, but she doesn't have, like, a presence much in the manga until much later. Like, you see her a bit in
number
the
16
anime.
and 17.
Right, you see her a bit in the anime when they have the school battling arc in the first season, and that's about it. So unless you really, pay attention, you might catch it, or you might like say, wait a minute, what was her name again? And that is something else that's also great. And unlike MHA, you actually like Class B.
Yes, absolutely.
You actually like Class B in
Very
here. And like, they're actually, you don't care. You actually like them in here. It's like, oh, they're just as cool too. Because one of the things you're concerned about for a lot of these mangas, or just in stories in general, is like, how are new characters going to fit into the story? You just got just these guys. How are this group gonna fit in with this group? And they meld right in. It's almost like with Gravity Falls or Avatar, where the new characters meld in. They don't feel like they were just thrown in for the sake of it.
Very true.
And they all have their own unique powers on how they use the sorcery, or their backgrounds, or their backstories. You want to go there. And you get more on, I call them Class B. For Zero, you get a little more backstory on them. And then with the main story, you stay focused on Itadori and Nobara and Megami. So...
The twin sister's name is May. M-A-I.
Oh, May. Okay.
Yes.
It's so easy. I think we'll remember that sooner.
Yes, I got the books to look it up, but we don't have the volumes that tells us the name of Yuji's brother.
Right. It's like, dang.
But if you have not read Jujutsu Kaisen, you are missing out. This is a brilliantly written manga. It came out like, wow. I mean, it just hit like nothing you've ever read or seen before with the anime.
Yes.
And the book, I think, should just be required reading. Even if you've seen the anime, you gotta read this manga. It's just brilliant, and we can't wait for 18 and 19 and the others to come out. It's like torture waiting for the next volumes to come out.
Right, absolutely, because it's so good. Like, you finish, like, wait a minute, that's the end? No, darn, that's the end.
Yes. You truly feel that way. And
you remember, this was huge for a while after it was out, like, maybe the first year it was out. It was a really huge manga. They already had announced the movie. They were doing a stage play / musical. They had merchandise. Lost in Paradise was through the roof. They were like going JJK crazy the first year was out. So it seems like that was like the next turn before they had Demon Slayer come out.
now the only drawback I can say to the manga right now is that if you've been watching the anime, you know what happens to Gojo.
Yes.
So you don't have as much Gojo in the manga, which is a travesty.
Yes.
But other than that, it's brilliant and it's perfect, and you've got to read it. Now, you've already read Jujutsu Kaisen, the manga. Let us know what you think in the comments. Did you read it when it first came out? Are you collecting the mangas? Are you excited like we are waiting for the mangas? Do you love Gojo as much as I do?
Right.
Let us know.
Oh, and I have one more thing to add to back that up. After you get to a certain point in the story where it takes place after the end of season 1, they have this girl that apparently knows Itadori from school, and she looks completely different. And she actually meets Nobara first before he comes in later. And it's one of the funniest scenes in there where you kind of figure out she wants to know where he is so she can confess to him. And it's like, you came a long way for that. And Nobara said, so it's like that? He said, yes, it's like that. And she has these expressions that I hope they keep in the anime don't cut them out, where it's just like, what is her face the whole time? Is she like upset or something? and she's like, hey, if it's a problem, and like, do you like, no, no, not even heaven and earth dance, and
we know better.
Her face the whole time looks like distressed or something, and then you hear a sound or something. She said, what was that, arrhythmia? It's like, that's the first time anyone's called it that, but okay.
So we're showing you a few of the pages, but we don't want to get a claim, so unfortunately we can't share a whole lot of the pages with you. But if you're going to see them, you have to borrow them or buy them. And then let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yes. And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and make these videos on your favorite anime series, anime shows, and all things animation.
Absolutely. And let us know if there are some mangas you want us to cover. Write them down in the comments and let us know. And thank you so much for your support, listening and watching. We really appreciate you. You don't know how much. And if you want us to check out your channel and we don't already follow you, leave the name of your channel or a link below and we'll do just that.
Yes. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a toontastic day.
Peace. Okay, but that's two.